Mm, all right, we're on. At least it looks like we're on. That's good. Good. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Figured, I hadn't had enough turning today. I've been turning a variety of things, specifically working on Abby's pen, but I didn't really get the Cloud Dancers. I didn't get much progress done on those. So I'm out here because I still have some turning to do. So that's what we're going to be working on. We're going to be working on shaping the Cloud Dancer pins here. Um, can't stay long, nearly 12:30. Hey man, no worries, no problem at all. It's only 7:30 p.m. here. Um, yeah, 7:20 p.m. But yeah, so I'm going to be working on these. I was working on Abby's birthday pin today, so I'll switch cams and I'll show you, and then kind of give you the rundown of what it was. So here we go. So it's good to see you, Michael. Hope you're doing well. Give me just a sec. That view looks acceptable. Indeed. Yeah, going to be turning some stuff. Primarily the Cloud Dancer, and maybe I'll get to some of the other ones that I was working on. Yeah, yesterday. I think it was yesterday. All right. So as you might remember, I showed this one yesterday. I was working on it, and this one is an ebonite cap, and it's got a stabilized wood on the bottom there, and I still need to shine it up a bit more. But yeah, we're going to use some Aussie oil to finish that part up. I did wet sand this, so pretty cool. But the section looks like this, where it has a kind of a cat eye effect. There we go. Cat eye effect. I think it might be a Juma, or a dragon skin Juma, I mean. So it looks pretty cool. It's kind of a gray. It looks really like almost black, but it's quite gray. So that was kind of part one. I wanted to see if I could do this in the first place. So what I was working on today actually is this. Um, this right here. So that'll get set in place. But we've got this is a pewter finial that isn't set, so I'm going to take it out. I got the nice little recess right there. Again, this is the stabilized wood. I took some, this is called boatite or maritime fordite. I did an accent band with that. Here is an example of what the material looks like. So it kind of comes like or similar to fordite. So there's that. So yes, this is sleeved. It has ebonite in it as well, right here at the bottom for the cap at least. And then you can see here, this will get much nicer as well. But this is opal inlay because that's pretty neat for one, and two, it chipped out right in that spot. So I just did a quick fix of that. So if you're savvy with doing opal inlay on rings, I'd say that would translate pretty well onto pins. This is also a interesting ebonite that has a variety of colors throughout. So I thought that would be pretty neat. I thought it was going to be a little more purple, but it's not. but we're going to hold what we got. Who knows? Maybe we'll even swap the barrels. But the interesting thing about this pin is this. So what I did is I had some vintage pins, and this is a 14 karat gold nib that's from a Waterman pin. And so this part here is the section from the pin, and then I basically fit it into a little ebonite sleeve that will go into this. So this will all get cleaned up a bit, but it'll end up being an eyedropper. And I did test it for leaks, and this setup configuration didn't leak, so fingers crossed, hopefully it won't. But yeah, so I thought about remaking the housing part, but instead I just made an extension with ebonite to give it the part here. What this looks like disassembled is something along these lines right here. So it looks kind of like this top one up here, but I threw a ebonite back part there to give it something to actually go into the pin instead of gluing it or heat seating it. So pretty fun thing to do with different types of projects, I would say. But yeah, it's a gold. It has a unique feed as well. It's clear. So you can actually see, come on. You can see through it. It's transparent. But it'll end up pulling out if you wanted to. But again, it's a gold nib that has a good deal of flex, and it also has a nice little part, just like the wall. Yeah, that's a wall nib. It is made in the U.S. as well. So again, this was pulled off of I believe a Waterman pin. But it'll seat nicely. It'll seat nice and snug. This is set in place, and then ebonite inside too. So in case it does leak, it's just going to leak into encapsulated rubber. So I'm not really worried about the wood taking anything. But that is what I was working on today. So I got to make up a little bit for lost time. Also, the sleeve part for the cap was a little longer than I wanted it to be. So that's why the cap is not quite the same size. I wanted to make sure there was enough room in order to do a recess for my finial. But she's already familiar that she will be sanding it because I started doing a CA finish on it, and because I don't have a lot of material to sand back off, and I already did it one time to get the opal inlay in there. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it again, but I hope she will. I hope she will enjoy it. But I'll probably also make another section for it as well that will facilitate a Jolo 6. But that is what I was working on today. So now we're going to change gears and continue working on the Pantone color of the year. What is it? A Cloud Burst? Cloud Dancer. Cloud Dancer, I believe. Cloud Dancer, is that what it is? Pantone. If you didn't know, Pantone does color of the year. And they're probably the most used like color formula or color scheme, color pattern. And Pantone is the one that does that. So You'll see I've got another one here that I'm working on. This is a commission. This is a commission. So we'll get to those a little later. This one's going to have this section on it. But yeah, I haven't done the sections yet. And the ones for the color of the year are going to have these. These are like a sparkly white, clearish. But yeah, be a lot of turning the white there. And then she also wants to put in finial on the top, so that'll also be, I'll be making a little recess for that too. Let's see. Oh, I went quiet. My bad. Let's see. I see the random color blanks you poured in Discord. No, I haven't looked at Discord today or yesterday, for that matter. Yeah, I was kind of heads down figuring out what design I was going to end up using for that particular pin. I knew I wanted to do the cap sleeved, and when I do stuff for the first time, it's really slow and deliberate, and I try to minimize mistakes and try to think about potential outcomes and things like that. So no, I have not looked at it yet, friend. Let's see. Huh, okay. I will take a look at it, Michael. Is it awesome? Have you made anything from it yet? Okay. We're gonna kick on Morty, so it'll get a little louder. But yeah, I'll definitely take a look, man. Alrighty. So the cap is gonna all be Marauder, the Marauder profile that I make, and it's gonna be a it just means it's a flat top. And then we're gonna do a little recess for the accent band, or not the accent band, but the finial. It's pretty nice that the kids went back to school today. Finally, it seems. They also like school, so at least my youngest does. I did see somebody made a Apollo pin. Working on some the closed-ended kits. Hopefully, spend some time here. I'll eventually do that on stream too. The whole sleeving aspect. I know that's something that people have wanted to see, but you got to kind of do things when I can. I don't always get to play. Fountain pens are play. The other ones are the money maker that we do. Now at least. Yeah, Abby's birthday is tomorrow, so I had to get that done. These are going to be pretty straightforward. All I need to do is trim them down to about 15 millimeter, and then have the end about 14. the this end, about 14, and then cut a little recess for an accent, and we're good to go. Keep saying accent. Finial. Yeah, I've been out here all day. I just wanted to kind of see also how it was streaming in the evenings, what that would be like. So if you are new here, feel free to say hey. I'm John Turner. I make pens. Go to pen shows and stuff. Nice. Right on. Yeah, tomorrow it won't be streaming most likely unless Abby wants to. But I appreciate you being here and stopping by, Michael. It's good to see you, man. Have a good night. Cool. All right. Sounds good, man. I will see you next time. This is going to be really hard to photograph as well. Getting better. Hope everybody's having a good night. Marianne, how you doing? I looked at pet sitters in the Florida area because you mentioned your dogs. But I've been trying to meet you. I am good. Indeed. I worked on Abby's birthday pin for the most part today, so this is what I was gonna do today earlier, but I didn't. So. And pin show season is going to kick off here in the near future, so got to get some inventory. No, I didn't find anybody. But yeah, I got a couple more people I could ask if you were serious about it. I don't know what they would have to say. But yeah, I know a few people in Florida. I could reach out and see if they know anybody. If you were serious about it. But no guarantees. I don't know for sure what who they would know. But if they do have somebody, I'll get more specific information from you. But how's tournament coming along for you? In Ocala? No, they would be in Orlando. Yeah. But yeah, maybe they know somebody that would be willing to watch your dogs, maybe for the day or something, and then you'd be able to attend the show, and then, you know, you can get your doggy or doggies, and then move forward from there. What kind of dogs do you have, though? This is my curiosity, not to pass it along necessarily. We have a Weimaraner and a German short-haired pointer. Not turning right now, finishing some diamond paintings? All right. Very nice. Get out of here. Let's measure this right quick. Did I measure? I didn't measure it. We were right where we want to be though. Yeah. Also for the comments that you had, I just kind of answered them all at the same post. After this one, I'll show you what I was working on today. Abby's birthday is tomorrow, so wanted to get it done. All of Austin. It sounds like a big dog and a little dog, if I remember Nikita correctly. Does this seem like we're really far away from the... Let me adjust the cam right quick. Let's go for a ride. We don't have to see my face every time. There we go. That looks good. Alrighty. Well, thank you for stopping by. Nonetheless, I'll probably be out for a little while. But the rest of these caps to do in them barrels. Okay, all right. Once I take this off, I'll grab the other pin that I was working on today. Definitely some cool ones. So the one I was working, or I recently did, is this one here. So it's got the ebonite cap, and then it's got the stabilized wood. And then it has a Juma section with a little bit of cat eye on it. It's a Juma, a gray Juma with, I think they call it dragon scale. And then this is the one I was working on today, and it's got a finial that goes into the top. So this will go right there, and it sits flush. So it's the Maverick logo there, and then this is stabilized. They're not. This one is not done yet, but it has a maritime Fordite accent band. It is a ebonite sleeve, stabilized wood, and then this down here is ebonite as well. Pretty neat how that ended up. Not the purple I was thinking it was going to be, but that's all right. And then it's got a Waterman nib. It's a 14 karat gold, and I took it out of that pen and made a little section to put it into that. And what that looks like outside of it is this. So I basically did the reverse inside this section part right here. So I basically did the opposite of this, these two parts, and then it sits right there. So one of my first retrofitting slash reconstruction and repurposing of giving older nibs a second chance if the rest of the pin's busted, which it was. But yeah. But 14 karat gold nib, pretty cool. But I kept the plastic front part, or the original section, I mean. I just added a little bit of an extension to it. That way I can thread it into a regular pen that I make. Or I guess a standard pen that I make. And then as far as the other diamond painting pens that I was working on, I don't know if you follow me on TikTok, but I showed a way to connect other smaller pieces together. If you have like a 1-inch piece or so of scrap material and you want to connect some pieces, here's it looks like this. So this is the little band that I showed on the TikTok, and this is 2 different pieces of stabilized wood that I joined together. So pretty cool little way to use some of the pieces that you probably otherwise wouldn't. But I'll probably make another backup section that'll go with that pen as well. Fight. There we go. Yeah, not a standard time for me to stream. I usually stream more like in the morning / early afternoon. But I wouldn't say I have a schedule either. I know you were asking about that. I don't really have a schedule. I usually try to at least stream once or actually, yeah, I try to stream twice a week. Mondays I usually don't, because that's when my dad comes over and we're trying to get everything prepared for the week, and then he helps me with some of the easier stuff for now. He'll level up his skills. But it's been pretty fun having him over from, and it kind of reminds me of some of the things that I used to not know and kind of think about. So it's good, I guess, in that regard, because it helps me kind of highlight certain things that I don't really think about as much anymore, because I've been doing it for a while. And then it's hard to think back to when you first started. Got it. But as far as my finger, I used to have 4 stitches in it when I got it done. Or I got it surgery done on it. And then now I'm down to 1. And they're not like, they're not the ones that are supposed to come out necessarily. They just, you know, I use my hands a lot, so I'm not surprised really. But yeah, there's still a really large opening right here, which is weird. I'd show it, but I don't know what the YouTube rules are on it. This one is going to have a coffee bean in the top of it. Oh, it's Abby's birthday tomorrow. My wife, the one that makes most of the blanks that I use. And does a lot of the sanding and. Wears a lot of hats as a small business owner, you know. Oh, I appreciate it. I'll let her know that you said that. So I probably won't stream tomorrow, but Tuesday usually is a stream day for me. I just don't always know what time, so it's... You'll have all the hats if you go that far? Yeah? I don't know how long you've been turning, but I definitely focus on trying to learn as much as you can in the beginning. Because once you do start taking jobs for other people and commissions and stuff, your time does get reduced for research and developing. So sometimes I'll end up turning a lot of diamond painting pins to get ahead a bit, and then I'll use that time that I built up to do some play around kind of stuff. Yeah, no streaming tomorrow. Unless you wanted to, because she's got to finish her own pins. The birthday pin that I made her. But she's not surprised by that. Okay, this is going to be a Guardian, which is a rounded-ended profile that I made. So this material is also made by the person that commissioned it. Which so far we're doing good. But I mean, Abby gets a lot of birthday. Don't feel bad for her. And she'll be gone for mine, so. She'll be at a pin show, the Cali pin show, actually. I think that's in February. But we had dinner with her family on Sunday, or yesterday. Went to her favorite restaurant, the Melting Pot. And then my mom also invited us over so she can have another birthday there. So it's like, it's many days of her birthday. Mine's February 20th. Okay. So I think we're looking good here. Let's see. Is that light coming through? Okay. We're good. It's a little deceiving. It is flat, but because it's darker from here to here, it looks like it's a little off. But we are where we need to be. we'll leave the rest to some sandpaper. You'll get some done? Alright, alright. That'd be fun. So the depth is actually to right here, but in order to do a rounded end, you have to like step drill a little bit, and then you go a little past. The material looks pretty good. It turned nicely too. I will give her that feedback. All right. That is it for the caps. Changing gears here. Oh, there we go. And then you wouldn't have to worry about your doggies. What type of things do you usually make? Do you usually make diamond painting pins? And then, I'm not sure if you know, but there is a turning meetup, like it's a Turner's Expo, that's what it is. It's called the Mid-Atlantic Turner's Expo. Primarily pins, but there's some ring stuff there as well. But the pin shows that is in Orlando and that we go to are pretty much modern fountain pens and some stationary and vintage fountain pens. There has been some 3D printed stuff that has also made its way. But that's about the extent of what it is. It's also kind of a good way to meet some of the people that you might follow, or people that you like watching do whatever it is that they do, and so it's pretty fun. It's still a ways off. Oh yeah, that's true. We say that, and then it's we don't usually worry about it, and then it's like, oh crap, now it's here. Oh, we had more time. So trying to be a little bit more planned. least we're hoping to. Oh, the couple other things that I forgot to mention actually that are at pen shows are Nibmeisters as well. Nibmeisters, and there's also classes that you can go to. Some people put on intro to fountain pens and disassembling basic fountain pens and the types of pens that are on the market right now. So it's pretty cool. I'll have to tell you more. What? What do you want to know? I'm an open book. In live sessions, when there's not many people here, it's like a I do have a one-on-one type of thing that I don't really talk about very much, so I'm not surprised people don't know about it. But I mean, catching me on live is really the best way. The free route, at least. I mean, I pretty much share the same stuff. But I do have other things that I'm working on that will be some of the other projects that I've done that are all pen related and stuff like that. Oh, hey Lawrence, how you doing, man? Good to see you. You sneaking in here. Good to see you, buddy. Mary, if you've got questions about scroll saw action or scroll saw work, Lawrence is your guy. And Lawrence, Mary, is into turning. She turns diamond painting pins and also kits. Huge Elvis. How you doing, Huge Elvis? All right, what you got? What you got? Spend more time fitting my body mandrel into the collet. There is when you have tape on it. So what I did is I expanded it a little bit. So I made the diameter of my mandrel just a little bit bigger with the tape. And so I was moving it, setting it in place so I could find the grooves, so I didn't have to swap the tape. That's it. But no, there's not a sweet spot for the barrel, at least. Good question. I did spend more time. But that's why. Okay, so the diameter we need for this, if we're sitting at 16 for the other one, we're going to drop it 1.4 millimeters. Excuse me. 1.4, so we're looking at 14.5 millimeter. Will be my target here. And we're at 1470. Let's see, did I make sure that fit on the inside? Yes. Okay. Oh me. And the other thing I want to make sure of is making sure that is taper and then steep taper it down there. Hey, no problem. I appreciate it. I appreciate the question. Do you make a lot of kitless pins? Or getting into it? Or how far along are you in it? I like to know a little bit about people when they come in and engage. Alright, again, this blank is Cloud Dancer. It's the Pantone color of the year. Hopefully we don't need to make any other adjustments. But, we'll see. Pretty good, pretty good. Alright, well that's what it looks like. White is like impossible to show. Yeah, white's pretty much impossible to show. But it's got color shift in it. Once it gets all nice and... Let's see if that does anything like that actually. Let's see. At least you can see it just a little bit. It's got color shift in it too, so it's like a blue to purple interference powder in it. But hard to see on camera. I think it'll photograph a little bit better at least, but definitely not wanting to show itself. Made about 50 to 60 kitless? Right on. Good job. Are you using triple lead or single or what? And then I'm busy today trying to polish the cap. It was partially clear resin. Ah. You have as much fun pouring them as you do turning? Oh man. Any hope on polishing interior when using clear resin? Um, so I would say that I don't do it very much. So I wouldn't be like the best person to talk to about that. But I have done it. It's just not something that I enjoyed doing. But yeah, so what you'll do is you'll get like a dowel rod, and then you'll cut a slit into it, and then you'll put sandpaper on it. That is a way to do it, at least. I had a dowel rod somewhere because I was doing something with it earlier. But yeah, you get a dowel rod, and then you just cut a slit like you would, or with a bandsaw or a handsaw, whichever you got, vertically. Oh, here we are. There it is. So you'd get a piece like this, and then you get a piece of sandpaper, and then you can do it a couple ways. One, you can chuck it and then have it spinning, and then move the cap in. You can kind of control where it is, so you can move the cap like this while it's spinning in a chuck. Or you can put the cap in, which I wouldn't suggest doing because you can't really see it. So I would definitely chuck the mandrel and then do it this way. But what you do is you take this piece, and then the way that it spins is it spins towards you. So you'll put the bottom of sandpaper into the slit, and then you'll roll it like so. And then you'll go in. And then you want to obviously avoid the threads. But yeah, it'll just spin on the inside, and then you just kind of move it around. I'd say one of the biggest things is, well, I don't think really any of us talked about, actually, but one of the biggest things that I would mention is that when you are doing your drilling, be very mindful when you're drilling as to not drill too hard, because you're going to cause little micro shears in there, and that'll create little pores on the inside, and it becomes very, very difficult to sand because you have to get those pores. So just like any chip out on the outer, so if you ever experience chip out on the outer part, you have to get everything else to the base of that chip out. And so the same thing is true when you're drilling. When you're drilling, if the drill bit isn't drilling cleanly, you'll end up with the same thing on the inside, and it'll make it very, very difficult to do the same thing. So there's that. Another thing that you could do is use a boring bar. So if you use a boring bar to do the initial area, you'll just have that one side, and so you're going to do a clean pass. You won't have to worry about the drill bit, not the flutes of the drill bit, but the other side, the high points, is doing the cutting. So basically this is going in, and if any of these catch, it'll kind of cause it to vibrate going in. But yeah, if you had a boring bar, or even like something else, if you had a, no, boring bar is going to be the best. But you take a bull ring bar and you'll have it to where it just does a clean pass all the way inside to where it won't chip anywhere. Because this is the cutting edge and it'll just be a nice clean all the way in. So a bull ring bar, to answer your question, that'll make it a lot easier for you. But I would also say keeping them short is also going to be beneficial, and then having them not be something that's diameter specific will also be useful if you don't have a bull ring bar. So keeping the ink windows pretty small will make it easier. And then if you're using I would make the piece, but I'm working on these right now. But yeah, that's the easiest way I can think of to do it. And we have done them in the past. We just don't, because it is a lot of extra work on that thing. And if you don't have like a machine that'll do it for you. So there's other pin makers out there that are doing it with the CNC. But as far as manual goes, that's the best I got for you. Do I have one out here maybe? I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Let's see, what if I put it on the black or something? It's transparent. I think another thing that would be pretty, depending on how you went about connecting it, you could also use acrylic, because acrylic is a little easier than Alumilite when it comes to polishing into a nice, into a very nice shine. But acrylic has it's harder. It's a harder material, and because of that, people don't like to thread it. I don't like to thread it. And then it also heats up a lot. So again, keeping it relatively short will also be beneficial. But Yeah. And I can go get you, I can go get the one that we did. Let me go do that. Let me go get the one that we did. That way you can see what I'm talking about. Alright, so this is the one that we did. It's got sparkles in it, and so that's why it has that appearance, but it's got pretty good clarity in it. Oh, geez, come on now. Like you can see pretty well through it. And the barrel's the same. So we this line right here at the bottom is actually where the mandrel was. So hindsight, we would have done that differently, but we just didn't go back and fix that. But that is the demonstrator one that we made. And we tried it for a good while. A variety of different ways that we could think of, and yeah. It is a really neat effect, and a lot of people seem to be doing them right now, but yeah, that's the demonstrator, and that is on Alumilite, by the way, as well. So the other one's 16. We want to be 14. Or just under 14. Or over 14. Perfect. But yeah, like I was telling Mary before, I don't know if you were here for that, but once you start selling things, people do want whatever it is from you if you're doing a good job and everything, and they're able to find you and all that. Then you will have less time to spend with like learning and everything. I made pins probably for a good year or two before even listing any of them. And then before any YouTube videos, I was turning for about 4 years or so. And that's kitless pins. And I definitely like really getting proficient with one technique before moving to the next one. And then it's quite possible at some point I'll circle back to doing demonstrator type pins, but I'm doing stabilized pins right now, which are pretty fun. That's very different. Yeah, it is. I will say one of the good tricks about that one in particular is that most people they'll do they'll drill it and then they'll do a step on it as well. But if you just do the one drill size all the way in, it could lend itself to be a better outcome as well. And then for this part, I guess if you use a slightly smaller drill bit for the inner part right here, and then you did your sanding, and then you came back and you opened this part here up a little bit more to thread it. But again, that's a different sequence of turning. So. But a dowel rod. There we go. That's nice. None of these have sections yet, but the sections will be made out of this. There. I'm going to block a little bit of the light. How are those burgers, Mary? Gone. Didn't save me one. I'm just kidding. The pit is beautiful, thank you, sir. We poured a sea blue translucent with glimmer ice. Clear resin bands just started a website. Hey, right on. Are you on Etsy or you have a Shopify or? And then what kind of social medias do you have? I'm not, I'll be very honest, I am not very active on social media. YouTube is really my only real thing that I am active on. Abby does the Maverick pens, but Maverick Workshop is, you know, just the turning stuff. But Maverick pens is where we sell them. You made them so they were just okay. Abby is usually the cook, but I'll grill. There we go, looking good. You like the measuring diameter guide? It was 3D printed, so it's plastic. But yeah, it is pretty convenient, especially when, you know, I'm gauging instead of having to take it off. But I also use calipers. I usually set the calipers when I'm doing sections, but for this, it's been pretty convenient. But yeah, it was a 3D printed file. It was, I didn't make it or anything, but it is a very convenient measuring guide. Might even be better if I also had half sizes in there, because that's the diameter I'm going for here is 14.5, so it's got to be smaller than 15 but just bigger than 14, which that is both of those things. And yeah, social media is rough, or it can be, especially if you're nervous about sharing or not consistent. So I'd say that consistency is my biggest problem, personally. But the other thing is that's kind of what social media needs. You've got to keep feeding the social medias for it's got to get what it wants from you, for you to get what you want from it. But yeah, you can look at all types of different like guides and how to do this and that, but really it's consistency, doing what you're trying to do continuously. You don't even have to do it well, just do it. You'll get better. Just like pin making. I'm sure your first pin wasn't the magnum opus that you can make now, but I don't even take my own advice in that regard, so. But Abby is consistent, so I'm pretty fortunate to have that. So I do all the making and she does the selling part. I also do a lot of the networking too, so like at a pin show, for example, I'll be at the table for a little bit, selling and stuff and chatting with people, but I'll often leave. I'll leave and I'll be going to talk to other people and working on my networking. I like meeting people and learning about what it is that they like and what they do and stuff like that. Abby will tell you the same thing. Shoot, other people, other vendors will tell you the same thing. I just go off and talk to other people. My job's to make them, not so much to sell them. And that's the other really interesting thing about the way that we are, I guess, structured, because I do the making and designing of the different ones. So I'll go talk to people that are working on like different interesting things. Like the DC Pin Show is a great place to network as well, because there's a lot of foreign people that come to the DC Pin Show. It's like representation from different countries, and they're always working on different things. There was one, let's see, where were they from? I don't remember where exactly they were from, but they were working on a new piston filler design, and so, talking to them and getting their information and stuff like that. And then I also pick up broken pins, or pins that need repairs. Like all of these right here, these are all broken pins that either need like different pieces. This is the only one that's not broken in some way. But yeah, all the other ones here are broken and need some sort of repair. So I just pick them up if they're a good deal, and I'm lucky to have the help. Well, yeah, you're right about that. But I will say it was not a wasn't an easy beginning. And you know, turning fountain pens was actually my hobby, and yeah, it started off as my hobby, and it still is my hobby. I don't produce the anywhere close to the amount that some of the other people do. I do it because I enjoy doing it, and you know, it's nice to have this type of thing to do on stream as well, because my biggest thing is I want to find more people that like doing it, and then, you know, sharing some of the things that I've learned over time. So that helps the whole YouTube stuff. Hey, thanks for the sub. Kevin, thank you for the sub. Vinny, good to see you, man. Happy New Year to you as well, sir. You turned into a Grinch pin. Oh, sorry. You turned in a Grinch pin. That's cool. At Turner's Warehouse, yeah. Well, Chad's got a team. He's got a crew that's pretty savvy with the social media. he's got the skills, and everybody else kind of brings everything else to life. So it's pretty nice too. You're just going to have to get a little bit at a time to turn kitless pins. Lawrence, the kit that I started off with was actually, I believe, if this one's Imperial, yeah, I started with something like this. It was only, I think it was like $20 at Harbor Freight or something like that. And I would make single start pins. In fact, I don't remember what stream it was, but I made this one on stream, and it was a single start, entirely built around the Parker refill. I think, was it the Parker? Yeah, it was built around the Parker refill. But yeah, I did a stream where I just basically used minimal stuff, turned everything on the wood lathe, and it's got a lot of threads, and the reason for that is because you want to make sure that this sits right where you want it to. But I never like finished it all the way, like sand and polish it. But I have it for these occasions for me to whip it out to show that I used to do single start. You should definitely start there and see if you even want to do it, and also refine your process. Because once you get the process down, all you're doing is swapping the tap and die, really. Because your process will stay the same. At least my process does. But that's awesome. Huge Elvis. Do you want me to call you Huge Elvis? Is that what you want to go by? Oh, Vinny. What I was working on today, actually, some people have seen it a few times already, but I'll show it again, dang it. But this is what I was working on. So This pin is going to have a finial like that. It's going to be flush. It's in stabilized wood. It has a maritime Opalex, which is the paint that they use to paint boats. And then it's got an ebonite sleeve in the top, and then this bottom part is also ebonite, and then a little piece chipped out, so I filled it with some opal, some crushed opal. And then for this particular pen, I modified a section from a Waterman pen to have a 14 karat gold nib. And so it's going to be a dropper, an eyedropper, and then I'm going to make another section. That way it can fit a Jowo, no problem, with the converter. So that's what I spent today doing. Sleeve and a cap. But it's not sanded and polished. This purple stabilized wood looks more like this when it's finished. This is actually the other one that I showed at Avio. It's like, this design was what I made for you. Ebonite cap, sleeved, barrel, got a copper brass, It's got a copper accent band, and then it's got a Juma with cat eye for chiffonius. But yeah, it's got like a gray Juma section for it. I don't know if I'm happy about the barrel of that one, but we're going to roll with it for now because her birthday's tomorrow. Let's see. Yes, that's about what I want. I'm going back a little bit, Lawrence. It's about what you want? Okay. The single start, gotcha. Amazing how people can come up with so much stuff in their mind. Oh man, you're not kidding about that. I've got notebooks and notebooks of all kinds of crazy stuff that I think about. A lot of pen ideas and stuff like that. Or just modifications and stuff like that for different pens, different pen designs and stuff like that. Let's see. Single start is easier to align the pattern. Yeah, you're right about that. With triple, if you align the pattern, yeah. The triple lead has 3 different starting points. That was the other reason I keep that single start pin as well, is to show the difference between a single and a triple. Yeah, Reese's Pieces. Yeah, I've seen him around too. He said that my videos made it so he would feel good about making videos too, so that's neat. Okay, good. A little bit bigger. So it's pretty fun. He does do a lot of involved work, that's for sure. But yeah, it's pretty cool. He does some pretty good work, that's for sure. Let's see how we do that. I saw some of his pins at the DC show. He had somebody else vendoring them for him. I have to ask him what's up with that. Why wasn't he there? Oh, Vinny, we got all of our shows for the year. We got tables and hotels and all that stuff booked. So we'll be at the Florida show again. And you planning on going to any shows or anything this year? I don't think I'll be going to the Mate this year. I was thinking about it, but it's over my daughter's birthday, and I think I've got another idea that I'd rather do business travel on this year. Of course, you like seeing pins turned? Yeah. It is quite satisfying. I went back and watched my other video, my how I make a kitless pin video. Because YouTube sent me like a summary. Hey, here's the year. This is your most viewed and this stuff. And so I went back and looked at it, and I was watching it, and I was critiquing myself. I was like, dude, what are you doing? So it's kind of funny going back and seeing that and seeing where you were, and then seeing things a little different than the way that you used to. And it's not like it. You can obviously get a pin done that way, but you know, I've since revised the way that I do. My process. Sweet, you'll be going to the Orlando show again? Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. You want to go to SWAT? And also going to Florida Wood Turning Symposium. Huh. I don't think I've heard of that. Because you're a couple hours away from where, well, I don't know. Oh yeah, that section. That section was actually from a something from Atlas Materials. I don't know if you've heard of that, but they have a lot of cool stuff. When I went on my phone to their website, it wasn't very friendly. It wasn't easy to find stuff. You had to kind of know what you were looking for. But oh, gotcha. Are you gonna stay there for the night, or are you gonna just do a day trip? And then the wood turning symposium. That sounds interesting. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, the reason I talk about it on stream too is because I'd love to meet the people that hang out. It was awesome meeting you, man. I think Mary might be there. Something else, we met someone that's also from our other business of Butterfly Effect Squares. Somebody came to see us, and then she was like, "I had no idea fountain pen shows were a thing." And I mean, I was like, "I didn't either until somebody was starting up a pen show, and they reached out to me and asked if I wanted to be a vendor there." So pretty cool. Funny how that works. Yeah. Talking about it like it's right around the corner, but it's in September. It's like, I think it's the 10th through the 13th. For sure in September. Come on now. It's just fun. It's fun to meet all the people. It's fun to meet people that you've met at other shows as well. It's a good community. It's a good group of people. Most of the people are older in general, but I think that a lot of things are becoming. I think analog is also kind of picking back up because social media is as crazy as it is. I think people are starting to be more interested in, maybe slowing down and nice. I think people are slowing down and appreciating things a little bit more. It's kind of funny how things like that cycle, huh? My nib choice, I usually go with Jowo. Yovo. Let's see. You're primarily Bach and configure Ken write nibs. Nice. It is the 10th to the 13th. Thank you, Mary. But yeah. it's just fresh on my mind. Because I got tons of emails as far as like confirmations and bookings and all this stuff. It's like, oh great, you're confirmed for this. Great. But yeah, Joe and Bach are kind of the go-to for makers in general. However, if you know how to make a custom pin, then you can pretty much use anything you want to. Now, I don't know what the companies will think about it necessarily. I don't know what Waterman would think if I was to try and sell that pin that has their nib in it, but it's a vintage. It came from is it this one? Yeah, it came from this one. You can see that this one has a few extra pieces than it should. So this is the pin that it came from. There's other little pieces in there of it too. And then another one I was working with, it is another Waterman. And this is a Weaver, a Wherever. So this is a Wherever. Another one of the ones that I picked up. And it's broken, but it's got a lever in it, but it doesn't actually function like a lever. It's got this back here that's supposed to come out, but it doesn't. It's like somebody combined a couple different designs with this one. And then I've gotten another one that's absolutely, I cannot imagine this. This is a Conklin, and this part up here, this doesn't seat how it's supposed to for the clip. It'll pop back out, but it's still got a nice nib on it. Yeah, it's a nice nib on it, but pretty sure somebody refit this one. But this is supposed to be the plunger, and this is supposed to have a this piece right here is supposed to be inside right here with a gasket, like not a gasket, but a ring on it, and then you push it in, and then it withdraws the ink. You do that. Or, sorry, this is not that one. This one has the plunger on the inside, and you use this to pull it back, and then it sits like that in your pin. So, but the fit isn't very nice, so I don't think that this was originally, I don't think that this is how it was supposed to be. But I don't know. I don't know for sure. My favorite one that I'm really looking forward to, this is a Waterman as well. You can tell that it's well, it's been used pretty hard. And this spins, but what I really liked about it was this. So this is a very wet pin, and then I'm pretty sure this is an ebonite feed, but it's a big one. It's, they don't call it an 8, but it's closer to an 8 than a 6. For comparison wise, let me get a 6 right quick. So this is what a Jowo 6 looks like, and then this is the other one. So it's a little bit wider, and it comes around a little bit more, which is pretty neat. And it's also very springy. And it's partially because of how far out it is. Yeah, looking forward to rebuilding that one. It's not too bad, but this is this is what the clip looks like. So this was like an amber. This is like an amber, but you can tell that it's all like crackled and stuff, because I'm pretty sure it's from the from 1940s era. But I'm not a vintage guru, that's for sure. I've got a lot of learning to do, which is the other reason why I go hang out with some vintage sellers. Vintage people selling vintage pins. I don't know if they would like to say on that though. So don't tell them I said that. Like to make yours a roller ball? I hear you. There's a pretty nice configuration that you can get. I'm not sure if Turner's has it, but Buford Inc. does. And you can get a pretty nice roller ball set up that you use a Jowo, I believe it's a Jowo 5 thread, a tap I mean, for it. So I think it's a 6mm drill bit for the Jowo 5, if I remember right. But you don't blame me, you'd hang out with the vintage people? Yeah, they do have a lot of information. And it's not just... Yeah, I mean, it is. They do have a lot of information. Like, they've been around for a long time, and, you know, I really am interested in those things. And they often appreciate... I mean, any vendor likes it. Well, okay, let me back up a little bit, because not any vendor is like that. But I can only speak for myself. Can only speak for myself. But yes, the people that I have talked to, pretty fun to talk to. But yeah, Joe 06 is my primary. But I do have 5s, and I have made a pen that was for a Joe 05. It's one of my pocket pens. Let's see. If it's easy to find, I'll show it, but I think it's out here. It might not be. Let's see. There's one right there. There we are. So I've done a couple iterations of this particular design. Just trying to find the right one. But these here are my first couple iterations of it. And it's for a Joe 05. So it's pretty small. But it posts on the inside. I really like the Kaweco Sports, and so that's kind of a different way, I guess, to do that. But yeah, so that will work with a Joe 05, and then this is the only one that I've completed. Well, okay, this is the only one I have out here that's like completed all the way. I haven't tried to sell any of them either. But this one, and then it opens up. It does have a 05 in it, and I have a custom grind on this one. But I kind of messed up a little bit when, and this back part got sanded a little more than I wanted it to. So the fit is a little loose. So one of the solutions I can do is take this down a little bit further. But yeah, pretty cool. At least I think so. I like it. You like watching the Japanese people make fountain pens? Yeah, it's pretty neat the way that they do that. They also have the... I'd love to go to Japan. That is on my bucket list. And go to a maker in Japan. I just need to find somebody that'll help facilitate that whole thing. Yeah, it is really cool. Lawrence, you know I spent years working on my craft. I'm just not Japanese. But I do appreciate their mentality about things and being patient and enjoying the process of things, and you know, that is another thing that I really like about pins as well, is that finding joy in the simplicity of things is yep. 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 We've learned two things so far: the width tool, and using the detail tool instead to cut off. Yeah, cool. Good. Glad you got some benefit out of it. Like I mentioned before, there is one-on-one that I don't really talk about. I guess today is the most I've ever talked about it. But, yeah. Watching the streams is definitely the way to get everything that would be, you know, free. That is almost my last one. I got one more. Or two more. Let's see. There we go. Hey, thank you, Lawrence. So you can make a roller ball from wood blanks. Yeah, probably. If you can thread the wood, some wood does not take threads very well. Otherwise, you'd have to use an insert. But the Apollo kit would lend itself pretty well to that. Or using a sleeve, whether ebonite, resin, it doesn't really matter what the sleeve is. It would just need to be something that you can thread if you wanted to do a threaded. There are other ways to do that as well. Hey, thank you, Mary. I've just made enough mistakes, I guess. That's what I usually say. I tell people that, you know, I've just made more mistakes. And kept at it. And that's really the main thing, is learning from your mistakes and learning from them is the other part of it. If you can make mistakes over and over again, I'm sure as most of y'all know that life has a funny way of letting you learn that mistake over and over again until you actually learn it. Funny how that works. I'd say mistakes are good when you learn from them. I made one mistake many times. I used to turn unsupported, and I could not for the life of me figure out why it wasn't lining up.
But I suppose that's how it goes when
you don't have anybody guiding you on anything, or when I started wanting to make pins,
it's like, what's the most technical thing that we can do here? And I think pin turning, as simple as it is also very punishing in some of the steps.
but I like it because it's got a lot of steps. It's complicated.
You can adjust the steps for different things.
When you're working on different components or different pieces and stuff like that, you can alter once you have a good understanding of the sequence of things that you got to do, and so.
Let's see. The file is also a really good tool when you're trying to get a flat surface.
So that still has a belly on it. I don't want it to have a belly.
But just remember, with the file, you're going to want to leave a little bit of extra meat on the pin itself, because you'll possibly gouge it
And have to sand it all back down flush.
I still do it every once in a while. I'll gouge it a little bit.
Nice. Very nice. Here we go. Let's see how that matches up the cap. Okay. Alright, we're a little snug. We can adjust that. That'll be okay. That's pretty cool. And it's going to have a coffee bean at the top. So there is actually, we learned about this, these people in DC, that they, there's a brown pin club. And these people, they collect brown pins. And all the pins in that group, I guess, are brown. And when we had that, this blank is called Mocha Mousse, is what Abby named it. This was called Mocha Moose, I think. But they came and they bought the nib holder we made, and they bought the fountain pens that we had. It was really cool. And they also taught us that, you know, that even existed. It's pretty fun. Watching him work, he has precision of a metal lathe. Oh man. Thank you. I do also have a metal lathe, but I use it to just drill for the most part. And then also make a quick mandrel if I need to. Oh, curious about this spot. What was that? The coffee bean. We did do it already. Somebody commissioned that one because they saw somebody else using it, and then they wanted one of their own. We happened to have another blank of it, so opted to take that one. This one's going to be a Guardian, which is a rounded end for us. We call that the Guardian. See what diameter we are at the front. Okay. Right there. Perfect. Just a little bit more will be right where we want to be. Okay, before I part that off, I want to make sure that it's matching up. Can resin blanks be used for sleeves? Yes, sir. They sure can. glad I looked. I want to take that down just a little bit more.
Somebody sent you they had someone send you some pin blanks, and one is a coffee bean blank.
Those are pretty neat.
I don't think I want to turn one, but they're pretty cool looking. I would turn one, I'm just kidding. But
They, because beans have air in them, the coffee beans,
the resin doesn't always sink in the way that you want it to, because it's a lot thicker. So you'll end up with air gaps in there. So you'll be CAing that bad boy.
the final detail of the end here will get sanded. Alright. There we go. Looks pretty good. She wanted to make sure that the pink spot was in there. And I think we captured the pink pretty well. That's pretty neat. That's a good pour. Alright. Well, this is where we stand. All these are now done, ready for sanding, and then this section, and then these all need to get done. These are just there. They're not going to be for anything. Well, for these pins at least. There we go. Let's go ahead and finish it up here, huh? Let's see. Let's switch it. Let's see. Overview pan. Whew. Okay. One sec. Let me read right quick. Learn a lot. Putting into the practice is a different story. Yeah, it is. You're right about that, man. But hopefully, I make it at least look easy. Some of it, at least. You know, it's one of those things. It just takes practice to do over and over again, and you'll get better. Any tips for getting a consistent taper from pin to pin? Yes. So I usually do a 2/3, 1/3 taper. So basically 2/3 is where I keep it about flat. So about 2/3, this is the barrel. So about 2/3 of it, I keep it pretty much flat, and then I taper the last third or so, and then I do the same thing for the caps. So I do a basically flat 2/3, and then I do a 1/3. And I know that this is 2.5 inches, so I know that it's going to be about an inch. And I know that the width of my tool, it's not actually an inch. It's a little under, but I know that the width of my tool is that. So using some of the things that you have and that you use regularly, so like my file here, I know that it's 1 inch wide. So yeah, I use that as a relative guide for my eyes when I'm doing it. And then to have a consistent taper, you know, it just takes repetition and knowing what you want it to look like. So I would suggest spending a lot of time seeing what right looks like, and then you'll do it over and over again. Like you might not have seen the first one that I did, but the first one I measured quite a few times before I got in a groove, and then I was able to repeat that over and over again. So if you're trying to learn a specific thing, I would definitely recommend just doing that thing repeatedly until you have a good idea of what you want it to look like. So for the barrels, I had a whole bunch of barrels just ready to turn, and for the caps, I had a whole bunch of caps ready to turn, and I would do that in practice. But also for like kits as well, I wouldn't turn them down to the bushings and then sand. I would set up like 5 of them, and then I would turn 5 of them down to the bushings, and then I would know what right looked like, right? And then I would go back and then I would sand all of them to have them all be what I had in mind. So spending extra time on that first one kind of sets you up for the following ones. Let's see. There is a taper jig that you can get. You can use a metal lathe, and you'll use the cross, not the cross slide, but there's another slide that will cut it at a taper, but I don't like doing that. There is a taper tool. Well, let me add one more thing to the metal lathe part. You can actually offset the you can offset, where is it? There you are. You can offset the tailstock. So for this tailstock on my metal lathe here, so this is the tailstock, and it has a piece right here. You can actually slide this part over, and you can actually cut a taper like that with the carriage just running straight, because what it's going to do is it's going to pull the blank. So the center point will be offset, so it'll be bending it essentially, but then it'll go back straight. Yeah. So that is a way. Another way is, this is a taper jig, basically, and it's also for the metal lathe, but this is a Morse taper too, and I already have it set for the degree that I go for doing tapered turning. But basically what it does is it offsets the blank, so it's just gonna pull the blank to one side, and then it'll run its pass, and then the material will rebound and go back to straight. But as far as on a wood lathe, no, it's just a matter of angling your tool and then holding it steady the whole time. Let's see. You do, but everything's complicated. No, it's if you break anything into small enough steps, Lawrence, you can do pretty much anything. So you're kind of seeing, I guess, a whole bunch of things happening at the same time. Just holding the tool certain ways and uh, turning certain ways, and you're just seeing all that happen at the same time, so it can kind of be overwhelming in some cases. Could probably make a guide like they use for duplicating turns. There is a duplicator already, but I don't use that. And it's based off of a template, but it's a jig that you kind of mount on the back side of the ways, and then it has it's like spring loaded, and it goes across, and it just so you have like your template piece. I guess we'll show it like this. So you have like a template piece like this, and then whatever you're cutting, it has like an extension arm that follows the guide, and then it'll kind of go up and follow the contours that you have. So that already exists, but yeah, I don't want to use that. Uh, let's see. Yeah, your mind's racing right now. What Mary asked, or what does she need help with? But yeah, it's just a matter of practice and repetitions. I mean, I've turned probably close to 20,000 diamond painting pins at this point. But you could do it by hand without the duplicator. Yeah, yeah. But I guess certain tools, if you start relying on certain tools over a period of time, you'll get to a point where if you take that tool away, then what? But I mean, I suppose the same could be said with just about anything. You kind of become dependent on it. But I want to advance skills, and I try to improve every time I do something. But yeah, once you're actually able to turn something nicely in a go, you don't have to like fine tune something. I think that's like a level of mastery that I want to get to at some point. But I have a ways to go because it's just one of those things. So basically, be a study guide for turning. Yeah, see that. But they're like going back to like the practical application of things is whatever you're trying to get better at, set it up so you can do that thing and get quite a few reps in it, and then make progress on everything else. And focus on individual things at a time. I think that's one of those things that will make it so you'll have a better time turning. Because people try to do everything from start to finish and want to be good at everything all at the same time. It's like it's unfortunate, but it doesn't really work like that. It just takes time and repetitions. But yeah, but it's been a good time. I enjoyed Huge Elvis. appreciate you chatting. Mary, good to see you, and Lawrence, really good to see you. Anybody else that's a little shy out there, appreciate you being here. It's always a good time, and I'll try to give as many tips as I can on any of these things. But yeah, at the end of the day, you just kind of got to put in the effort and then start fine tuning, because once you start something and you start getting decent at it, then you'll have other questions and you'll be like, well, this, how about that? And so just ask yourself, or just do them, or that's what I did. And it's a good time. So I really do enjoy pretty much everything about turning. Even talking about it, I get all excited and everything. But I think that's a wrap for today, friends. Thank you so much for being here. I had a good time. Hope you did too. Hope you learned something. On your way out, hit that thumbs up. Really would help me see some big numbers there. But anyway, I had a good time. And I will see y'all next time. I might not stream tomorrow because it's Abby's birthday, but who knows. Till next time, friends. Take care.